Well, g'day everyone. Inside ball time again. We got our special guest today, this week. None other than dual international. He's played for the Broncos as well. He's played rugby everywhere across the world. Lote Tuqiri. Welcome, Lote.
Welcome. I'm feeling very welcome, Kev. Nice to see you, boys.
Mate, I hope you do a little bit better than when you made your debut with me as a commentator. I don't know if you remember the one and only...
He hangs his hat on this every time I see him.
No, I don't. Can I just say this now? I love you, LT. You know that.
Yep.
But we're calling... I don't know. I think it was Broncos, maybe West Tigers.
Someone.
Yeah.
Was it Tigers?
Yeah, West Tigers.
Yeah, okay.
Kevie,
Josh Addo-Carr was still playing.
You've been a commentator with me, so you get through the first couple of sets, and then you look to your expert comment to make a comment.
Your colour commentator.
So LT's there, he's watching it, he knows more than the game, he's done everything. I go 0-0, no score. I look to LT and he does this once. I got nothing. And so I hope today, we're going to, straight up, we're going to have a lot of you. Mate, I get it. It's hard going. How are you, mate?
Not too bad, Cop. Not too bad, dog.
Righto.
Feeling all right, mate. A little bit hot in here.
Yeah.
Should probably pump up the aircon, boys.
Righto, mate. What about your career? I'm just going to tell you a little bit about it before you tell us about it.
Yep.
15-year career, right? Took you around the world with League and Rugby Union, that other sport.
Yep.
2 NRL premierships, 2000, 2014.
Yep.
2000 we know a lot about. I skippered you that night.
You did, mate. You did.
Yeah, I skippered you well. Queensland and Australia, state of origin. We mentioned the dual rugby. And then you captained Fiji.
I did.
That must have been in the 2000
World Cup, mate.
Rugby League. How was that moment for you?
Mate, it was sensational. As I grow a bit older, obviously in my 40s now, I sort of look back and to your heritage and what have you. I was proud of my Fijian heritage. Came over when I was obviously 3 years old. Got the chance in 2000. I didn't know at the time how proud I would be later in my career or later in life about putting that jersey on. And got the chance in 2000. Your old coach was our coach, Donnie Furness Sr.
Yep.
He didn't do too much, the old fellow at the time. But a great experience, great to put that jersey on and learn a little bit more about my culture. I sort of knew a little bit, but to run out and captain those boys was pretty cool.
How did it all start? I mean, you come from Fiji and when we were looking at this, you grew up in Sunnybank.
Yep.
How did you end up to start off with, because traditionally Fiji is a rugby background, so you would have followed, I suspect, as a young kid, the Fijian rugby in the sevens.
That's right.
How did you end up at the Broncos? What was the process?
Well, when you emigrate, I guess, and you come to Brisbane or Queensland, and you sort of get, smashed in what is rugby league in Brisbane and Queensland.
Yeah.
I came over when I was 3. My father came over initially 6 months before to try his go at playing for a rugby club here. I think it was Colleges back in the day.
Yeah.
And they folded, and then they went to GPS, which is out at Ashgrove.
Yeah.
And we followed him out a little bit later. And so we migrated to West End and then spent a few years there with my uncle. And then I actually got into following Souths, the Souths Magpies back in the day, Mal Meninga, Gary Belcher.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know, you were at Ipswich, I don't know, probably a bit too young for you then back then, Kev.
No, yeah, a little bit, mate. But I was
80, early 80s.
Early 80s, South, yeah. Yep. Mal, Belcher, Peter Jackson.
That's it, that's the crew. And then we went down to Logan, actually. So I grew up down at Logan for a long time and then went to Sunnybank High. And my dad is still living down at Runcorn now, which is...
Could your dad play, cool, mate? Like, he came over here. How good a rugby player was he?
Yeah, I think he was a bit of a hard-headed winger from what I've been told. Some of the old players and the staff at Jeeps. I don't think there was too much talk. I think he didn't mind a stiff arm, from what I hear. He got sent off a few times.
Yeah. Did he? From the wing?
From the sting.
Yeah.
I think he was just coming across cover tackle.
In cover.
I don't know if you were like those ones making a break straight down the middle, Kev.
Yes, mate, yes. So you grew up here, 3 when you came to Australia.
Yep.
What other things did you do as a kid, your childhood? What sort of stuff did you get up to?
What did I get up to, mate? We
School? Loved going to school?
No, not really, mate.
Didn't you?
We just try to get into the community. I think there was a big Fijian, not that big community as there is now, Fijian community in Brisbane. We sort of just hung out in that crew for a long time. Obviously, there's a few Fijian churches. Fijians are very religious, and so went to church for a long time, mate. Every Sunday, probably Wednesday as well.
Right.
2 times on a Sunday. My dad was pretty high up in the church, and my mum loved to sing and everything else. So it was pretty cool. But then, nothing. I just played footy and touching whatever in the backyard or the car park of the church. Get inside, go to Sunday school.
Have you been to church in London?
I haven't been to that church in London.
Yes,
Have you been there,
it's
mate?
famous. Lottie, you've been there, Lottie.
You would have been there.
You know about the church in
Yeah,
London,
of
don't
course.
you?
It's a pub.
Is it still open?
Yeah, it's still
Mate,
a place.
you're asking
yeah.
the wrong bloke
No, it's still a
here.
place. Were you a good footballer growing up? Like as a kid, like when you got to the Broncos,
Yep.
you were young and elite. But you hear these stories. Oh, I never got selected for anything. Were you selected in rep sides, and did you play a lot of rep football?
No,
prior?
I didn't. I thought I was okay. I didn't know if I was okay. I didn't actually play or tried to play in any of those rep teams because I just probably knew my parents couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
There was actually no point in pushing myself that far because at the end of the day, you're probably not going to go on these things, mate.
Yeah, on the
So I
tours
just-
and
on
everything.
the tours and everything else. I know it probably didn't cost that much, but I think my mum and dad were working full time.
Your big family? You got a big family, Lottie?
Yeah, I got 2 sisters and a brother. Grew up down there, but a big extended family who also come over as well. You coached one of my first cousins, Elia, mate,
Lote Tuqiri,
to a premiership
That was with the Clydesdales.
with the Clydesdales in 2001. Yep.
Ilya was he was a halfback, sort of utility,
Yep.
5'8",
He
centre.
got one
winger.
game for the Broncos, I
He
think,
did,
on
yeah.
the wing.
Yeah, he was a good player, mate. Good man. Coaching now, isn't he, Ilya?
He was coaching now, but
he been
he's
sacked
taken
too,
a
has he?
back seat. Yeah.
He's been sacked like... yeah, right. That's coaching.
blokes out
There's
of money.
two types of coaches, mate.
So you made your debut for the Bronx, 99, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
So,
Yep.
and you would have been playing with Kevie. Can I ask you the lead up? Like, so you get into the Broncos system.
Yep.
Do you still remember? You still remember that game, that first game that you
That
played
first
for the
game,
Broncos?
yeah, bloody 1999. I think it may have been round
Round 2, Sharks.
round 2 it was.
At
At
the old
the old
QET.
ANZ Stadium.
Yeah.
They're remodelling for, what are they doing there? All that?
Yeah, they're going to do it. Nothing now. It's been it's missed out.
No, it was a great old stadium. That's where I played all of my Broncos games, really. I don't know, when did you move out there, Kev?
that was
99 or 98?
93, mate.
Oh, 93.
So
Okay.
after the 92 premiership, we moved out there.
Moved out there for
93.
Suncorp Lang Park to get rebuilt.
That's it.
Yeah, so I played all my footy out there. Most vivid memory of that game was I debuted with Chris Walker.
Yeah.
We were both. I think he may have been. I actually not much. I just remember it going going to church in the morning
On game day.
on game day.
You prayed.
Having the whole church prayed for me.
How did they?
Is that right?
I was asking for those prayers later after 10 minutes. Can't tell you that much.
Yeah, we lost.
We lost, mate. We had a terrible start to that season.
Yeah.
You blokes were partying too much after 98.
Well, that might have happened.
We started late, didn't we?
We started late. Yeah, we ended up making it through to the. We made the finals.
We made
actually.
the final. We limped
But
in.
it was a learning curve, not
Yeah.
only for the older guys but also the younger guys. The NRL's tough, isn't it? You know,
Oh,
like-
mate, and you've got to be on top of all of that when you're coming back, you know. I
Yeah.
think, obviously, Penrith have done that now. They haven't had a premiership hangover, but you guys did that 97, 98, and I was still part of the club at that time.
Yeah,
And
you were
thinking,
playing the under 19s,
under
weren't you?
19s, under 17s, and looking at these blokes thinking,
'Cause you're-
these
you-
blokes are superstars.
Yeah.
And to be in that team and that club and rub shoulders with blokes like Kev and Alf and Pearl and
Did you look
all
up
those
to
blokes.
anyone as a kid, like when you're coming through, like a winger or someone that you?
I don't know if I looked up to him, but when I got he was a big brother. I did. The big Dell when
Big
he
Dell
rocked
You
up.
got into Dell's world.
He was
Got
good
into
to you?
Dell's. Yeah, he was good to me, mate. He was
Yeah.
good to me. He was good and bad when you look back at it. But I had a great time with Dell. I just remember him, mate. You remember him when he had his BMW?
Yeah,
Used to rock up with his music blaring,
yeah,
gold hanging off him.
yeah.
And I remember as a young bloke coming to those little camps and thinking, oh, wow, look at this bloke.
Yeah.
You know, he's a superstar, this bloke. And you blokes just trained hard. Like, that's where I think I don't know if I worked that hard ever after I left. Yes, we had a lot of success, but you actually had to. These blokes actually work really hard. I think that's what people don't see about Kevin and Alf and all those blokes is the amount of hard work they sort of put in to where a season goes.
Yeah,
and you've got to do that in the off season. Now I'm sort of helping coach. You got to do the hard work, mate.
You do, mate. And it's strange you bring that point up because I remember two things. I remember you walking into training in your school uniform. You must have been there at the academy.
Off the plane, yep. Off the train, bus.
To get to training. You had your school uniform, your socks pulled up, you had your long pants down, but you looked really cool. And I said to Alf, I said, look at this Fijian fella, because we'd heard about you coming in. I said, geez, he's got some size about him. And you were tall, but you weren't as thick.
I was tall naturally. And sort of wiry.
And then we took you on a pre-season army camp. Do you remember that one, Lote? Into 90, I'm not sure what year it was.
Yeah, I think it could be 98 or 99.
We got dropped off on a bus, right?
I will never forget
start
that.
We're all in full kit, army kit, and we're walking.
You're making me sweat thinking about it, Kev.
About 4 kilometres out from the actual camp, and we had to walk in. Well, our man Lote,
first day one. This is my first camp with the top squad.
The blokes you looked up to and all. The blokes I looked
after you. Dell's in the front carrying on. Alf, everyone, Brad, Thorne, Gordon Taylor, Shane Webke.
Well, you tell the story, mate. You know what happened.
Well, mate, I'm thinking I'm just really quiet. I'm pretty respectful, young bloke, not saying too much. Wayne stops the bus about 5 k's out. I didn't know where we were. I probably went up
behind Bay Desert.
The only time I went up to Canungra to go to
Canungra,
at the falls up there, but apart from that, I didn't know where we were. And then I'm thinking, okay, this can't be too bad. Well, we're probably only about maybe a K or 2 out. So I think, get off the bus. We're going to get on, put your shoes on. We're going to jog into camp. Not too bad. At the start, I'm going. I actually start powering. Yeah, I'm going good. Next thing you know, I didn't realise all these blokes. I don't know how far. Did you know how far we were?
I didn't. No one knew, mate. It was a surprise.
But these blokes, seasoned campaigners, just ambling along. Next thing you know, a K goes past. I'm thinking, okay, I'm not going too bad. 2 Ks, I'm starting to sweat. I'm thinking, I don't know what's going on here. I start there, and at 3rd K, I sort of get back forward. Like, holy hell! When I had those demons going on in my head.
You had some demons.
When is this thing going to finish? Where are we going? Where's this camp? I don't know. I was about 1 kilometre out. I didn't know what to do. I am fucked here. I can't move. Like lactic acid everywhere. First, I didn't want to embarrass myself. I thought, I've got to fucking stop. I'm fucked. I can't move.
He was buggered.
Gone. I reckon I found the bank.
Yeah.
And I found the only tree in Kui in the bank. I've laid there like this. No, you go, boys.
I'll meet you there.
It's my first camp. I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to come back here.
Yeah.
These blokes won't see me again.
Who helped you in that moment?
I think Wayne actually came back.
Yeah.
He sort of sat next to me.
Yeah, because you fainted.
He fainted. I did. I was gone.
Dehydrated.
Yeah.
Rookie, drink the water before you go on these long runs.
Or drink the night before or something. Wayne helped me up. A couple of blokes came back, helped me up. Off you go. Just don't walk.
Yeah.
I've sort of took that into the rest of my career around that mental toughness about not walking at training and everything else. But it started, that hell started there for me. And so I relate that to before, mate. You had to work hard, and these blokes worked really hard.
But, you did work hard, though, and you got the rewards that year, premiership. First year.
Well, the next year, actually, after 99 was 2000.
And you win that comp in 2000. That was a pretty good side. I mean, pretty significant year. I see the photos of you guys, quite unbelievable. You remember, we'll get to 2014 at some point, but do you remember that first premiership?
Yeah, I did. I was young, so we were young blokes coming into that squad.
Yeah.
We didn't know where we were going. We thought we were going to be, pretty successful, but didn't know how successful. And then off the back of what Kevin and the team were doing, it was sensational. I think Wayne put me, I think I started maybe round 3 or 4. I think Michael Hancock was on his way out.
He's still on his way out, Mick, isn't he? The Broncos, I mean. He still works there. You know?
He still works there. I love Big
liquor.
Liquor.
Yeah, he's a good man.
I just remember, he was on his way out, and he was great with me when I was coming through. You know, everyone sort of seems to think that he's a bit of a grumpy ass old man.
No, he's far from that.
He's far from that. Like,
Good human.
But he took me under his wing, and obviously Wendell did as well, but Liquor just, you know, I think he knew the next bloke was sort of tapping him on the shoulder, and that was me, and that was, I don't know what round it was.
You weren't tapping him, you were slapping him, mate. Because I remember that year, Dobbo.
Yeah.
And every year when the opposition used to try and kick the ball, like they'd ruck it out of their half and kick it. And I'd think, oh, how good is this? They got the choice to either kick it to Lote, kick it to Wendell, or kick it to Darren Lockyer.
Fair back three.
You got
fair back three.
That's the back three
fair back
for the
three.
Broncos. So you can imagine bringing that ball back. These two giants, like, you don't kick it to them.
No.
You know?
Yeah, and then after that, it'd be Sivanasiva or Webke or Tallis or Thorne.
Huge side.
Yeah.
How big?
So
Just under the cap too, apparently.
Just
under
under
the
the
salary cap.
Like, you win the comp, and I think you lose Wendell in the next year.
Yeah, we do.
To rugby, and it was the biggest story in rugby when Wendell left the Broncos, because I mean, you guys, the premierships that the Broncos had, they were the biggest brand, and to lose a bloke of his calibre to Rugby Union was massive. And you know, he loved it. When that happens, I know you stayed on at the Bronx, but automatically, was there any part of you that thought, you know what, because of your Fijian upbringing, because Rugby Union being a big part, hey, at some point, I'm going to follow him?
Yep. I don't know if I was going to follow him. I thought at some point in my career I'd go and play rugby, as you allude to around watching, you know, and being Fijian.
Yeah.
It's a national sport over there. And my father playing, I'd always wanted to go at some point. And I hadn't done everything in rugby league yet.
Yeah.
There was still things to sort of tick off. But I was close. I was really lucky, mate. I was really lucky. I'd come over and started at 19 with the Bronx in first grade, and we won a premiership the year after, Origin 2001. So the drums were beaten, but I don't know if they were beaten too early. And I'm not going to lie, mate. He obviously went for a lot of money.
Yeah.
And us not being over the cap at the Bronx, I had to obviously take not a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, we still had a hell of a lot of blokes on big money there. I wouldn't know. But, you know, compared to, you know, some of the bigger players, I sort of wasn't used to having, you know, a big contract just yet.
So you had minimal contract, Lote, yeah?
Yeah, when you won your comp in 2000, sorry to jump in, Kev, like you weren't on big freight at that stage compared to like, and I'm not saying just Kev, but the Lockies, the Kevs, the Norns, the Webbies, the Tallis.
And I was happy to do that. You know, that's what you do when you come into these teams. I wasn't used to having a lot of money anyway, but I was, as for a 19-year-old, I had a little bit of money. Yeah. You know, I bought my parents, bought a house down there for not having much money, so we just sort of started there. I think it's not going too bad. I could probably stay on some of this, but then I think Wendell obviously had been speaking to Eddie Jones and Jeff Miller and the like, and I was playing at the time as well. I'd played in a couple of sevens tournaments for a local Brisbane team that I probably shouldn't have been playing in, because I was contracted to the Bronx.
Hang on. You played rugby in a sevens when you were contracted to the Brisbane Broncos.
Yeah, I was on with the Fiji as well. I was playing a couple.
In the off-season?
In the off-season.
Wow.
You know, when you're a young bloke, you just don't care.
And you feel like you're letting your mates down if you don't play.
Yeah, exactly. And you just want to get out there on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, fuck, I hope I don't get injured.
Did anybody find out? Or like?
Yeah, I think that's what got the ball rolling with rugby.
Right.
Because I think I played in a sevens tournament. It was over at Brothers.
Yeah.
And Jeff Miller was there.
Yeah.
Who was, I think he was high performance head, or the high performance of Australian rugby at the time. And he come to me after. He said, "Oh, mate, you don't mind playing, do you?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I just enjoy it, mate. I'm just playing with the boys here." He goes, "Well, mate, if you ever have the inkling to come across, mate, here's my card." I never called him.
Yeah.
I ended up giving it to my manager.
Yeah.
So maybe about 6 months later, then that just started ticking.
Yeah, well, your career started to get in line, didn't it? In 2001, you're the top try scorer for the Broncos, 21 tries.
There you go.
2002, you set a club record, most points in a game.
In a game, there you go. Yep, I think I'll still hold that one, Kev.
Yeah, I think it's equal with, is it Mick DeVere or someone? Or maybe you held it out right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
No.
And the Dally M Winger of the Year in 2000. So your league career was on fire.
Yeah,
but
it was on fire.
the Union, like
Unbelievable.
Dobbo said, were knocking on the door, weren't they?
They were knocking on the door, mate. When
So what Lottie, because like Kev says, I remember you playing Origin. I remember you were unbelievable as the Broncos, and you could have probably had a career at the Broncos forever and a day. When it comes to a contract, and I've never asked Kev this, and was it to start off with you going because you wanted to support your family? It just the freight wasn't there, or what was it?
No. If the freight was the same, I probably would have stayed at Brisbane.
Yep.
But the only reason, if I'm being honest, that I jumped, I did want to go at some point in my career.
Yeah.
That was going to happen. But the freight was just outweighed what I was being offered and what I could get at the time.
From rugby.
It was 3 to 4 to 5 times more than what I was being offered to stay at Brisbane.
Right.
And I was just doing, not the numbers, but what am I going to do? I was really tight with the crew there. Like, Kev, you came, when did you come back?
I came back in 2001.
2001, yeah. But I didn't want to leave. Like, as you know, you blokes know, when Wayne puts teams together, like, it's us against the world, so we're really tight. Like, I was really tight with guys, Barrow, all those young guys that were coming through, Dane Carlaw, Bradley
Tony Carroll.
Myers, Big Tunza. Thorny was great. They sort of took us under their wings, and we were probably going that way as well.
Yeah.
These blokes were on the back of their end of their career, and Wayne had brought in a younger crew that probably wouldn't replace them straight away, but we were on our way.
You're well on your way, mate. We'll get to rugby in a minute, Dob. I know you've got some good questions about the rugby. Your Origin career, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about your Origin debut.
Origin debut.
You remember that's a famous game, that one?
Yeah, 2001 last game.
Last game
at the
Sunday
Park.
I was there.
There you go.
Was it 11 debutees?
I don't know, but it was definitely in the 2 digits, 10 or 11 or something. I remember Pet was debuting. There was a whole bunch. Big Charlie Webb, God rest his soul, he debuted that night as well.
Now, your first touch. What happened in your first touch, Origin?
Well, mate, as you know,
I could see this like yesterday.
Yeah, well, mate, the first touch, I'll lead into it because as I said before, I watched you blokes and watched Mal Meninga in that Queensland jersey, and to have that, to be able to pull on that jersey.
Special feeling, eh?
Special, mate. You know.
Yeah.
It's probably I'm not going to bag the other jerseys I played for, but I think I've felt most special putting on the Queensland jersey.
Is that right? Out of everything you've done?
Out of everything I've done.
That's huge.
Yeah.
What was it like? I've always fascinated to play Origin. You know what Kevie and all those blokes have done.
Yep.
Before you put that jersey on, before the first time you go out.
Well, the history's getting smashed to you the whole week. And when you watch it growing up, like I used to be one of those kids who'd put a maroon shirt on and watch the game. My uncle used to tape all the games on the VHS. Yeah. And he used to sort of mark them whitewash 96 or whatever it was. And sometimes after school I'd go there and put it on. Like the game with I think one of my favourite games was the game with the King when he had 1 million blokes out and he wins the game in the corner.
Scored the try in the corner.
Yeah, off breaks his leg at the start of the game or something like
That's
that.
That's it, mate.
But so leading into that, Choppy gets us all fired up, which I love Choppy. Blokes are nearly crying, running out. Gordy's eyes are going the back of his head. But then, and just to run out there and just to feel that and think, well, I'm actually doing it now. It was a dream.
This is real.
This is real. And then first touch, Kev.
Yes, I can see it, mate.
Brett Kamali kicks to the corner. I think Lockie picks it up. We trained for this a fair bit because we're at the Bronx. We sort of, the centre had sort of come back, and that was Darren Smith, I think, inside me. He played left centre that day. So he'd come back with the ball and give us an extra number. So we're
3 on 2.
3 on 2. So if Smithy's there, which he's done really well, some of the stuff Darren Smith done in a game you probably don't realise, but that sort of stuff is what makes the extra number. He got back. We got 3-on-2. So Lockie's either going to hit me short or we go through the hands or he hits Darren Smith on a cut pass. So it's 3-on-2. Lockie brings it back to the line perfectly. I'm just hitting the hole because we played together so much at Brisbane.
At full tilt.
At full tilt.
105 kegs, full tilt.
Straight through. I run about 40 metres. The crowd goes up. How good's this? I'm at Lake Park. I'm in a Maroons jersey. I'm going down the left-hand side at full tilt. First touch of the ball in Origin. I think it was about 4 or 5 minutes in.
Bang.
I tried a goose step. I stuffed myself up. I actually trip, I think. I trip, then I get my feet back, step inside Mark Hughes, pass the ball to Lockie. Lockie goes on the post, gets the night started really well.
What a great start.
Great start. We go on to score 30 or 40 points and give it to them.
And you win that game?
We win that
Lose the second?
Lose the second.
Trouble in the Queensland camp. What are we going to do? How are we going to fix this? Gee, you were part of some famous games, like really. So tell us about Game 3.
Well, Game 3.
Now, the game had been moved to
ANZ
Stadium.
Last ever game there.
There you go.
Of Origin.
It did too.
Right, but there was
that the last game of Origin there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It was an unbelievable weekend.
Unbelievable. Were you working in the press at that time, mate?
No, I wasn't. I'll tell you what I was. I was on a boys' trip. The Lions played on the Friday night.
Yep.
The British Lions played the Wallabies on the
too.
Saturday night at the Gabba.
Yep.
And on the Sunday was the grand finale.
It's a good weekend.
Which was a great boys' trip, I can tell you. We drove down on a bus from Mauer in central Queensland, 13 of us. But that game, am I right in saying I can remember it there? That was Alf's last game. Alf came back from England.
Where were you, Kev?
I was sitting in the stands. Actually, I'm going to take some credit for
because I'm thinking, did you know?
I didn't know. No, nobody knew.
You had no idea?
I had no idea.
You had no idea. Longneck got on the phone.
I was part of the conversation with Wayne. We said, "What about Alf? What's he doing?" And then I left it at that.
Yep.
So Wayne rang Alf, and
so after Game 2, we got pumped. Freddie, Joey, started the show. Unbelievable. Clinic. And I think obviously Wayne's thinking, we might be
dead roast here.
Dead roasty for Game 3. We need something different, right?
Yeah.
And I had no idea. I don't think anyone did. Well, they kept it under wraps pretty well. Because I don't think anyone, well, I didn't because I was a young bloke. I think the senior players knew what was going on.
But what was your first thoughts when you saw Alfie walk through? When did you find out Alfie was playing?
Mate, I found out when he was on his way from the airport. They said, well, something's come. We didn't know what it was as a young bloke because we're Yahoo and carrying on.
Yeah, picked for Queensland, you little beauty.
Picked for Queensland, we're just carrying on. Yeah, decider. And then he walks on the bus, and I'm like, is he going to? Is he playing? Is he come just to help us out for the week?
Yeah.
They said, no, he's playing. And then as soon as he walked on, the boys were, he was back in.
You were never going to. That game.
I don't know whether we were going to lose or not, but we had a fucking great week.
Yeah. Rod Wishart scores the first try, I think, in that game, and then the floodgates for Queensland open. Rod Wishart goes, I think, if you're running south on the southeastern corner, comes around, scores it. And then I'm thinking, oh, no, this is going to. And then it was a clinic from Queensland. Something snapped, and you guys literally put on a clinic that night.
Yeah, we did, mate. It was amazing. Alf was amazing.
Yeah.
Like the try scored on that right-hand side where he ducked under someone.
And put the ball down behind his head.
Yeah. He had the crowd pumping. So, mate, what happened? You going to take some credit for him coming or what?
Well, I'm going to put my hand up. And, Wayne, he was obviously in Wayne's thoughts.
Yes.
Because you needed a 7. You needed a halfback.
Yeah, because we had makeshift halves. We had makeshift halves the whole 3 games. I think Daniel Wagon was 6 at the time. I think Greeny, God rest his soul, he was in there at different times, and he played hooker.
So you needed something special, and Alfie delivered.
And he brought it, mate.
Was he a bit nervous? I mean, you played some footy.
Yeah, I think he was quiet that week, mate.
Yeah.
He was quiet that week, but he got it done.
Righto. Great series win for Queensland. 2002, your Origin again, scoring tries. That's when you scored some points too, didn't you? What'd you get? Individual record that still stands with Thurston. 18 points?
18 points. I scored 3. I probably should have kicked about 5 or 6.
You missed one from the sideline.
You got to bring that one up, are you?
Now what? Well,
which one? Game 3?
That's famous in Origin history because
mate.
that then meant that because was locked at 18 all.
Yep.
Queensland drew that game.
Queensland drew that game.
So because you were the Shield, it was 1-1 in the series. Because you were the Shield holders,
we win the series.
That's what
that was sort of spurring me. I was thinking, if I miss this, we win it anyway.
Yeah.
So I was sort of trying to take the pressure off myself going for the kick. And Lockie,
why didn't he take it?
Well, his knee was busted.
Right.
He did. I had to kick that whole series. So I'm thinking now. I'm asking Lockie now, mate. Why didn't you take it? Oh, mate, I don't know. You know, Lockie doesn't sort of share too much.
Yeah.
But he didn't take it. I thought, I'll take this. Started too far, right, mate, and then
Never
come back.
never come back. I thought I had a good draw on it.
Yeah.
No, but that was pretty cool. There was that series. I think it was. We changed a few rules that series.
Yes, you did.
So you had to do that, and then.
Oh, what about the old mystery selection?
The mystery
Do you remember
selection.
that?
Was that? I don't know if it was 2001 or 2.
That was
I
2.
can't remember.
2002.
So that was, yep. I do
What do you
remember.
call about the mystery selection in the Queensland team?
Mystery selection? I played really well coming back. I didn't have to train the whole week. Because I was... So what they did, I don't know if you remember, I tip tackled a bloke against Saints at the footy stadium on the Sunday, I think it was. The team was getting read out on the Monday. And my points had gone over, so I was going to miss a game.
Right.
And the Origin game was before our next
Broncos were playing on the Sunday.
On the Sunday.
Yeah.
You were playing again
We were playing on the Wednesday. So they'd named the team. Good old TBA was number 2.
To be announced.
To be announced. Ross Livermore, TBA.
It was a masterstroke from Wayne, wasn't it?
Oh,
Wayne,
very
they
smart.
got together, yep. And then, good thing for me, mate. You know how I love training, Kev, especially with Billy Johnson.
Yes.
I didn't have to stay on the bus, mate. You just watch from afar. You're not training this week because you're not allowed to.
So they named you for the Bronx.
Name me for the Bronx. Watch the Bronx game on Friday night or
You're
whenever
suspended.
it
You
was.
sit it.
that was
That's your suspension. Come Monday.
Come Monday, I'm ready to play.
So you do the captain's run,
Do the
and that's
captain's
it,
run,
and then you're
that's it.
playing.
Then I'll play and I'll score. And that's the game I'll score 3 tries.
Yes, mate.
And kick a few goals.
So you get down to 2002.
Yeah.
What's going on then? Like what you played Origin, and we talked about it. It's just unbelievable. You dominated in every level. Was there part of you that wanted to keep on going?
Yeah, there was.
Just stay in league? Because I feel like, and Kev, would it be right to saying you're on 99 games for the Broncos at this stage?
Yep. I'll say it's 100.
Why?
Well, I reckon, and I think the club actually recognises it. So I think I'm at 100 at the club. I think on
Righto, well, let's
Everything.
fix it up.
Why?
I've got one of the horses, mate.
Yeah.
I've got the 100 horse.
The statue.
The statue, which you get for 100 games. My extra game is one of the World Club Challenge games.
Right.
That is obviously not an NRL game.
That was against St Helens.
St Helens where we
In
lost.
the snow.
You were gone by then, weren't you?
I was
Kev?
gone, yep. I was at Warrington.
Yeah,
So it's not a trial. It's actually that was a legitimate game. A World Club Challenge game is dead set. That has to be
It's not a
legitimate
trial,
a
mate.
legitimate game.
I'll give you the 100 there, mate.
Thanks,
got,
mate. 100.
You got
Thanks,
the
Kev.
statue though, haven't you?
I've got the statue.
Right.
Right.
I'm gonna. Narelle puts this together like does some work.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell Narelle 100 games for Lottie.
Tell
Let's
her
get the big
to
100.
get on, what do you call it, buddy? Wikipedia as well.
Change it.
Wikipedia. No one trusts Wikipedia, mate. Hey.
Hey, so I'm fascinated because I knew you as a league player. Then I say you're and this is a huge call. You're the greatest dual international that we've had.
Yeah,
and,
thanks, mate.
And I mean that genuinely.
There's been a few good ones.
I know, but a lot of people probably see Lote Tuqiri as a rugby player,
they do.
whereas rather than a league player. Whereas your league career was so good.
Yeah.
So in that moment when you have to make that first decision,
Yeah. I'm shitting myself, mate.
yeah.
I'm shitting myself. I go through, obviously, the pros and cons with my ex-wife, my wife at the time. We were boyfriend, girlfriend. I moved into Sydney or whatever. We do all that. And I just knew it's a finite career playing in the contact sport. I'm not going to be offered this sort of money again in my career.
Was it ridiculous,
So
though?
how long did you sign for?
Mate, I think I signed for 3 years.
3 years on big money.
On big money.
Like big money, like elite end money.
Yeah, well, probably not Daly Cherry Evans money,
No.
but close too. Like it was nearly a middle of season.
That's a lot back in 2003. That's huge compared to what Bronx. Would
But-
Bronx have been
but-
at 400? Is someone? I'm not.
Exactly.
Was that the kind of Bronx were
No,
at
it was
4?
less than that.
Yeah,
it was less
right.
than that, and then on top of that, you get bonuses as well.
Yeah.
So that was a good base, and then on top of that, you get bonuses,
you
which you
can't-
probably
you can't
get
knock
anyway.
that back.
No, and you travel the world. At
And
that stage, you travel the world.
Yeah, and those bonuses I was going to get anyway. So I'm thinking, it's hard to knock back here.
Why New South Wales? I've always wondered
know
this.
that,
This
I know.
this is the thing that I don't understand.
Yeah.
You're a Queenslander.
Through and through.
You just talked about it.
I know.
And then you had to go. And at that stage, it was still, now it's just a franchise. But at that stage, the New South Wales Queensland rivalry. So that must have hurt having to wear
Yeah,
a
well, I did. I used it as a franchise. There was about another 6 or 7 Queenslanders in that New South Wales team. My reasoning for going to New South Wales, I love the Tars. Had a great time down there. Was I would have played at the Reds and would have stayed in Queensland, but at the time, Wendell Saylor was on one wing
Yeah.
and Ben Choon was
Ben
on
Choon.
the
I
other.
was going to say Ben Choon.
Both blokes had been playing for the Wallabies. I wanted to play in a Rugby World Cup in 2003 the next year. I thought the best opportunity was to get I just wanted to get
Just
some
wanted to
reps
play,
up.
mate, at
Just
a high
wanted to
level.
play at a high level and start a game.
Yep.
So that's what they offered me down there. Moved down there, and the rest was history.
Best decision you made. Best decision. Did these blokes, these proud Queens, did you get a lot of crap from your mates, like Kevies and that, for wearing blue? Like, was there a bit of...
Gordy's sort of he's a bit iffy with me.
Oh, is he?
Really?
Nah, he's all right. He's all right. No, but I do get the odd, especially on,
Origin times.
Origin times. Mate, you wore the blue jersey, mate. What are you talking about? So, yeah, it is a bit tough, but I did find it very weird. I think we played in a trial in Newcastle. First game for New South Wales, Waratahs. They handed me the jersey. I was looking at it for a while. I must have, in the sheds, thinking, I've got to put this on.
You got to put it on.
This fucking colour. I've got to put this on. Which
Just
I did.
No, you said it was a franchise jersey.
That's
so
what it was, a
that's how you
franchise
got through
jersey. That's how I got through it.
it. Right, 89 games for the Waratahs,
Okay.
29 tries.
Yep.
Then you finished up, you went to the 2 World Cups.
2 World Cups, 2003, which was in Australia,
Yeah.
and 2007, which was in France. It's going to be pretty cool when they come back here. 2027, I
Yeah.
think, is the next Rugby World Cup here. Bigger and better, hopefully.
Were the World Cups what you thought they'd be? Like a great experience? and
Yeah, mate. Yep, definitely.
The crowds and the support that...
Yeah, well, when you got a home World Cup, you don't really get into the atmosphere. You sort of we were locked away in Coffs Harbour up there. Every time we'd play, we'd sort of go back. We felt it when we came to Sydney for the semi-final. We played up here actually in the quarter-final against Scotland.
Won that.
Won that, and then
Beat
went
New
back
Zealand
to
in
Coffs
the
Harbour.
semi.
Beat New Zealand in the semi. That was an
Huge.
amazing
Massive.
game. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Morty,
were.
Sterling Mortlock.
Were you at the game, Dobbo?
I was at the game. At
Yeah,
the game.
Snorky got he got an intercept with about 20 out off Carlos Spencer pass, and he's run 80 metres obviously to score under the post. But it was a big thing for us because I think at the time, the last time we played the All Blacks there, they put 50 on us early in the year, and I think that was in maybe June or July or something like that. So it was massive for us to get to that game and put everything we did in place to play those blokes. I still am dumbfounded why they never played Tana Umaga. So Tana Umaga at the time, I think he got injured at the start of the tournament, and then he made his way back. And I know how much you like tackling those big Islander boys, Kev.
No, mate.
Hard to tackle?
That's for somebody else.
Well, you know what I mean. If you're looking at a bloke, when you're lining up against him, I don't know if you know Leon McDonald. He played 13 that night. He's just, New Zealand puck ya, or Tauranga. Who would you rather tackle? Who would you rather tackle, Kev?
Oh, I know.
If you're standing there up there
none
in
of
the
them,
jersey.
but yeah, right.
I mean, you got beaten in the World Cup final.
Yeah,
Johnny
later.
Wilkinson kicks a winning field goal.
Yep.
England win their first Rugby World Cup. And we're not going to bog down on rugby too much, but I feel like that's one that got away. Look, Australia had great success at rugby. I mean, everybody talks about it. England were the favourites. You had them skinned there for most of the game. Do you think about it much?
Oh, not really, mate. Not really. I don't know if we had them skinned. I think they were sort of ahead, then we sort of clawed them back. They were ahead, and then we sort of clawed them back. We could have done a few things at the end of the game in that extra time to sort of change a few things. Matt Rogers should have kicked the pill down the field another 50 metres rather than kick it out 10 metres where they put us on the line and then Johnny kicks the ball. But, you know, a lot of things went into it. But, yeah, I think the Poms were actually pretty good that year. They beat New Zealand.
Everybody, yeah.
In New
but you
Zealand.
were established by then. I think you felt... So the next...
We had a big chance. We had a big chance.
You go on and play a lot of rugby,
Yep.
right? You're a very, very good rugby player.
Yep.
History will show the best thing that ever happened for you is that you then got, in the end, got sacked by Rugby Union. I mean that genuinely. As much as you did that.
Yep.
At the time, Wendell had been sacked, and then
He got himself sacked.
Yeah, he got himself sacked, but then you got sacked. Was there always? Were you thinking about going overseas then, or was it you were always going to come back to league?
I went overseas at the time. So I went to the Leicester Tigers.
Yes.
Had a
16 games, 3
16,
tries.
yeah. Had a good
loved
season.
It. I loved it because we were no one really gives a stuff for you. Rugby players.
Yeah.
You know, you've been over there. Kevin's all about the soccer, football.
Round ball game.
Yeah. And I love the anonymity of the place and, you know, not having too much pressure and played pretty well. But there was always that thing in my head around wanting to finish up or wanting to come back to Australia and finish on my terms. I felt that got taken away from me.
Yeah.
And the opportunity came up to play for the Tigers, mate.
Yeah.
Stephen Humphries came over to the UK to have a few meetings with me.
Right, so that was on for a bit. You knew that was well down the track, coming to the Tigers. You just come back to Australia and ended up at the Tigers. It was well planned.
Yes and no. I think it was only for about a couple of weeks. They called up. I was talking this, that, and the other. And I ended up at the Tigers. Played on the Sunday. My last game, I think I played against London Irish at Leicester. Flew on the Tuesday or whatever back to Australia. Had one session with the Tigers captain's run. Played on Monday night footy first round against Manly.
Right. Okay, so before we leave rugby, Dobbo, I've got a couple of questions for you. Your biggest rugby union moment, what do you think it was?
Biggest rugby union moment? Proudest?
One of the World Cups, was it?
Yeah, well, we lost the game, probably scoring the first try in the 2003 Rugby World Cup final. And we didn't go on with it. Pretty.
You had the dreads then, didn't you? The long dreads?
Yeah.
They look good on you, mate. I love them.
Unbelievable LT that stage.
Yeah, how cool were you, man? Like,
I thought I was pretty cool too.
You looked a treat. He ripped up his body, like
he was unbelievable, colossal.
Stone.
That was amazing. Like you look out and see a gold. It was pretty cool, but there was a lot of white jerseys there that night as well. But that'd be probably one of the proudest.
One of your big moments. What about one of the hardest things you had to do? Was it? How'd you find the transition? Was that difficult for you?
I didn't mind because wing to wing's not too bad.
Yeah.
I think the hardest things, they wanted me to change positions and changing from a 14 or an 11 to a 30 in outside centre. I think in rugby league, you stay on the one side, right? In union, you're changing. You're right side, left side, defence. You just move around the whole time. And you're more of a passer. Where I'd love to run the footy. Get the ball in my hands, give me the ball.
Run over people, sidestep them.
Yeah, exactly. That's me, mate. And sometimes I'd struggle with that. And sometimes I struggled with, when sometimes we play in the Northern Hemisphere or Northern Hemisphere teams, you'd get the ball and then you'd probably have to kick it back. And sometimes you'd only touch the ball 4 or 5 times a game at different times.
Carries, yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to carry the ball. I wouldn't say I'd get bored, but I wanted to do more things.
What code did you enjoy more?
I'd probably say rugby league, mate.
Yeah.
Because I could get my hands on the footy.
Well, they're different type of blokes. I wonder, like the league blokes that
No.
Like you talk about Broncos compared to the Wallabies. Did you find you know water finds its own level? They're the same kind of characters in both codes.
Same kind of characters in both codes.
Yeah.
Just went to different schools.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of mates in both codes and still have fond memories of catching up. I'm actually going to catch up with a few of them in a couple of weeks on a reunion for that 2003. So
yeah.
Yeah, great blokes. Just went to different schools.
Yeah.
Not Sunnybank High, eh?
No,
Not Sunnybank High, mate.
Were you an anomaly? Were you an anomaly with the schooling thing?
I think I was, mate.
Yeah.
I think I was. There's only a couple of state school boys.
Yeah.
When I went back, but I think it's changing now.
Yeah.
I think that things are changing. Both codes have a lot of state school boys and a lot
GPS
of Polynesian, Melanesian boys sort of getting in there, which it's great to see because when I was coming through, you'd see, there was probably, 20% Polynesian, Melanesian boys. Now it's nearly 50 or probably more. Yeah. And it's good to see those boys representing their cultures.
Tim Sheens.
Yep.
How much do you owe him for getting that league career back? Like, in all seriousness, like, when a lot of people would have gone, oh, come on, we're getting Lote back. It was a masterstroke.
Yeah, well, the good thing with Sheensy, he just backed me. I don't know if when you're under a coach and he's got full faith in your ability just to go out there and do your thing, and you let your hair down, and you're not.
Well, you had plenty to let down back then, didn't you?
I did, mate. And you're not in fear of, getting chastised or whatever. And we played in a team at the Tigers, a great brand of footy. Like I must say, I probably enjoyed my on-field footy the most when I played at the Tigers. Like the way we played, Benji's long loop plays, under, Robbie Farrett dummy half.
Yeah.
He was pretty creative as well. And Cheensy let us do that. Express ourselves and played some great footy. I think I scored a lot of tries that season. A lot of my mates tell me that, Sheensy got me into that kangaroo jersey in 2010 because he was a coach, but I had a great year. To come back to that, I had some of the best times on the field and probably that locker room was amazing too. Like blokes like Bo Ryan. He's an imbecile.
But he's a great man.
He's a great man. He's loyal, and a lot of those blokes made it very fun. It was a very fun club to play with.
Righto, Lottie. 52 games for the Tigers from 2010 to 13.
Should have played more. I
27 tries.
I'd injured myself. There's 2 seasons there. I just had back-to-back injuries.
The arm was a big one, wasn't it?
The arm,
broken arm.
I swung really hard on
Quad strain,
Thompson's
the old
leg.
quad strain.
The old quad strain. Kevie, I remember you,
calf.
mate. The old calf strain, mate. When was that? 2000? Does that finish you off, Kev? 2002?
It nearly did.
Did it retire?
Luckily, I had a group of whole people. This is about you, Lottie, not about me. Let's get back to you, mate. If anyone's ever torn a calf,
I see you walking off the field.
I couldn't walk, mate. And you sitting there laughing at me with your school bag still.
Someone call
You're
up
still
the
in your school
ambulance.
clothes. Anyone that's torn a calf can understand and appreciate the difficulty. And I tore it right down the other end of the field. So
You walked
you
all the way
laughed the
past
whole
him.
way,
What's he
mate.
doing?
Look at this old bloke. Get him out. Get him in an ambulance.
You had the arm. How did you end up at South?
How did I end up at South? Well, when I finished up, before I left, I had 2013. That was my last season with the Tigers.
Yeah.
I was still injured. Only a handful of games because blokes were getting injured, and my contract had finished up. But at the end of that season, I had a few conversations with Madge.
Yeah.
A mate of mine spoke to him, and then we sort of spoke to each other about maybe coming back in 2014. I was like, don't know if I've had enough. Can I do it?
How old were you then, Lottie, if you don't mind me asking?
34.
34. Righto.
34. Do I come back, or do I just go and have a union contract and finish it off?
Yeah.
And go out that way. But he was persistent. He kept knocking on the door, mate.
Mate, they talk about Teo and Wren and those blokes. That side was stacked.
Yeah.
But Burgess.
Yep.
But they talk about
Don't forget
Madge
Greg
was
Inglis.
Greg
yeah,
Inglis.
but they talk about Madge was just a lunatic at that stage. Like the pre-season
Yeah.
was like mate, those blokes talk about all those 2014 guys say that pre-season because you guys were on the cusp.
Yep.
Can you remember it? And at 34...
Well, mate, I'll tell you why I do remember it, and I don't remember what they remember. It's because I knew going into it, I heard even from 2000, all those blokes, 2012, 13, in the comp, you hear about what other teams are doing. And I heard these blokes were getting smashed, right?
Yeah.
So on the way back, I played in Ireland. I finished up over there. Madge was calling me up. Mate, when you coming? When are you coming?
Wow.
Mate, you're going to come back. I knew they were getting smashed up. I put Madge off. I said, mate, I'm still over here. Mate, I don't know whether I'm going to do it or not, but I'm still making up my mind. I held him off for a good 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And in that 6 weeks, that's when they had all those crazy camps.
So you missed all of it.
Too smart. Oh, man.
You learned from 99 pre-season, mate, at the Bronx.
I did.
Find a shady tree.
Find a shady tree. My shady tree was the phone. Don't answer Madge's calls. Just text him back.
Yeah. What a side, though. Like, you think about that team,
Mate.
you know, like, unbelievable.
Inglis, Burgess, Sutton, Dylan Walker,
Reynolds.
Luke Keary,
Yep.
Renault, Ben Teo off the bench.
Isaac Luke, Sutton.
Sutton. Mate, yeah, I knew those blokes were going somewhere. When he said, can you come and sort of help us out, I didn't know what sort of role I'd have. But I knew, like the Tigers before I got there, both teams were going somewhere. They were going this way. I think before I got there, the Bunnies were the last 2 seasons before that, they were getting knocked out in the prelim.
Yeah.
So they just needed, obviously, I don't know if they needed me, they just needed something different. Obviously worked really hard, and those blokes were going places. And I was lucky enough to be a part of it. It wasn't the best year for me. Started the season
Because
pretty
you were
well.
in and out, weren't you? You weren't sort of...
I was, mate.
The back end of the year, they found... Because you're a big game player, Lottie. Let's face it.
Yeah, I love the big game.
You love the big games.
occasion.
That's where you play your best footy.
Yep.
I've seen your Broncos grand final, scoring tries, and now you're in another grand final. So he starts with a grand final.
And he finishes with one.
Book it.
I don't know if there's too many in the game that's got that. I'll have to do my research there. I'll get back to you on next week's show.
You remember 2014 though? Like that grand final, like that first collision, James Graham, Sam Burgess.
Crazy.
Like
bang.
Like
huge.
It was like...
I was on the right-hand side of the field. I saw him wince and sort of come back. Thinking, fuck, I hope he's all right. Because he's our talisman.
leader.
Right? He's like spiritual leader. We follow this bloke. And then he sort of goes back in after a little bit. I'm thinking, okay, he's all right. We're going okay. I can't remember sort of what the score was at halftime, but we go in at halftime, and they said, "Oh, he's breaking his cheekbone." I'm thinking, "Oh fuck, he's going to be all right. Oh, do something."
Yeah.
And they said, "Yeah, no, he's gonna go back out." And we're thinking, "Oh fuck, he's actually probably going to. He could not lose his life, but he's put his face on the line here.
Mate.
Like we're going back out here and going to win this thing."
Yeah.
And I don't think we actually looked like losing that night, but I think our toughest game was the prelim. I think we won it the week before against the Chooks.
Teo was unbelievable that night.
Teo was unbelievable that night.
That's his best game
He's off
he's
the
ever
back
had.
fence,
Off the back fence. He come off the bench and just made some big plays, picking up James Maloney off the ground. I know he gave a penalty away, but when you're behind that, he picked him up, put him down, and we're thinking, yep, okay, we're on here.
Yeah.
I don't mind blokes giving away penalties like that. And then I think big Warrior Hargrave tried to take him on. He didn't back down. He comes in, scores a try off an inside ball, I think off Sammy Burgess. Things just happened in that game, and then we pumped them.
Yeah.
But we go down 12-0 at the start of that game.
Yeah.
We go down 12-0 at the start of that game. And I remember at the start of that season, we had meetings around where and why and how we can't let this happen again. I remember Madge being really hard on Justin Horrow. Justin Horrow came in for Manly. They got beat the week in the prelim the year before, and how much he changed the game. And I just remember that, and in 2000, in that first 10 minutes, and we sort of went to water in that game against watching the video, the game against Manly the year before, and just thinking to myself, just calm these blokes down. We did a lot of breathing and a few other different things that year, but just sort of take it back to what we're doing on the field rather than going, because I could see blokes just start to look around and
Yeah.
going, oh, fuck, it's happening again.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't.
Yeah.
Broncos premiership, they go crazy.
Yep.
The South's premiership
Mate,
after Ding Dong, which is there, like how the post, like with fans. And
Yeah.
what,
it was probably like Kev's first one, 92.
Yeah.
Because they were starved, right?
Yeah.
By 2000, it was old hat.
yeah, that had a lot.
Well, that was
yeah.
their fifth year
Yeah.
in 10 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So for them and the way they came back into the comp,
Yeah.
and being part of that was amazing. Going back to South's Juniors at Maroubra on Anzac Parade there, the street was packed. We got up on the balcony with a
Shield.
with a shield
Trophy,
and a
yeah.
trophy. People were just going crazy, from 90-year-olds to 10-year-olds. It was amazing.
Your greatest memory, if your greatest memory in sport, and do you have any regrets?
My greatest memory in sport, my professional career, would probably be, we spoke about it, running down that sideline for Queensland. First touch of the footy.
At Suncorp Stadium.
Old Lang Park it was, Kev.
Yes,
Yep.
it was, mate. Still Lang Park then.
Still Lang Park back then, running down there, being part of that whole thing.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's
Amazing
amazing
feeling.
putting that Queensland jersey on, and obviously winning a series in 2001 was really cool for me.
I love that is the greatest thing, your
Yeah.
greatest memory.
right.
That to me.
Well, he's played some big games.
yeah,
this
but
time.
mate, World Cups, everything. I love that
Yeah.
for you.
Still,
Yeah, and mate, you're involved heavily now in both codes, but
Yep.
like obviously you've coached your kids in rugby.
Yep.
Your kids, your boys are very good sportsmen, and your daughter. But is it coaching something you want to do now? Is that something you're focusing on, or is it just you just like being involved with
I
kids'
like
sport?
being involved and giving back.
Yep.
Because both games gave me a lot. Rugby league gave me a lot.
Yeah.
And helping out guys that want to go to the next level. Like I'm helping out Kay now at South Logan
Yep.
Magpies, just over here across the bridge. We're going okay, and then I'm coaching the BRL team too. They're guys who are on their way up and want to get to the next level. If I can offer or anything and help them get to that next level, I'm happy to do that. Because I was actually given so much by rugby league. It started me off on a curve like that, and it was an amazing ride.
So how far do you want to go with your coaching stuff, Lottie? Do you want to?
Well, mate, I don't know. I've sort of got to get into it a bit more, Kev. I'd like to.
So what else are you
keep
doing?
going.
If it's not coaching, what? You're a
He's
young
got,
fella.
mate. He's got so much going on.
Well,
this
we want to
bloke.
know, mate,
Come
on the
What-
podcast. Tell us about what
mate,
you're
I'm
doing.
helping out in labour hire, the Pacific Island Labour Mobility Scheme,
Right.
with workers coming over here, helping out there and helping them assimilate in the community, similar to how my father came over from
That's
from
huge,
Fiji.
mate.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's great seeing those blokes. They're playing out in the country. They're all either picking fruit or they're in.
Mate, they've dead set. The
Meatworks.
Contamine Rugby Club get 4 or 5 Fijians every year. They work on the feedlots and work on the farms,
the
and
one.
next thing you know, they're
They
playing
win the
rugby
comp.
and they win the comp. They played league as well for the Miles Devils.
So the Bouval Swifts.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, they played there as well. They've been up there in Ippy and
Yep.
in their little groups that they like
They
to
do.
hang
and
together.
that's what I sort of help out. I think they've got to assimilate into the community, and I think going into a sports club or something like that really helps them sort of do that, and it brings everyone together.
Because the Fijian, you've been to Fiji and I've been to Fiji.
Yep.
The Fijian culture is so beautiful, isn't it?
It's pretty cool.
Billy got married in Fiji.
Oh, did he, guys? Right at the start of the year.
Yeah, a couple of years ago,
Yep.
and the people there are just so amazing. It was like a beautiful wedding, but I've got to say this. But now Christian Walsh was the MC of the wedding.
Yep.
Actually, we won't tell that story. We'll leave that for another day.
Okay.
We'll cut that one out.
Yeah, no, it's a great time. I know you blokes probably. Did you try the carver, Kev?
I have tried
I
carver.
won't
Yeah.
drink it. I won't try it.
You won't try it. Why is that, Dob?
Oh, I don't know. I'm a bit nervous
The boys
about
had it the other day at
Yeah,
Redcliffe
mate.
after the game.
Did they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, I saw it in the crowd.
In the crowd.
That was pretty cool.
Can I ask
Yeah.
you, do you regret not playing rugby for Fiji at an international level? Because your dad,
Pretty cool, yeah.
I mean, the sevens, like that, everybody knows running rugby
Yep.
started with Fiji. That's, growing up as a kid, we'd watch the league, but the Fiji and seven side and, their 15-man side, they were elite because they'd run it from anywhere, and obviously that's in the DNA.
Yeah.
Is there any regret like that?
If it came at a time, I would have definitely put my hand up. I don't know if there's regret, but I really support what the Fiji Drew are doing.
I saw
now.
Jared Hayne try to do it, and he did. Yeah, he didn't get anywhere.
But I think he played 1 or 2 tournaments in the sevens. I would have loved to have at some point, but happy to support from afar now. I've got a cousin playing in the Fijian drill team in the front row, so he's going all right.
He's going good.
Think we're all done here, right?
Yeah.
Good stuff, Lottie.
Thanks, fellas.
Love having you on, mate. Dual international.
The greatest.
Tries galore.
I had to
He's a
come
try
on.
scorer.
I had to come on for my 2000 captain.
Yes, brother.
Gotta do
Fire
it.
engine story. Thanks, mate.
Thanks,
Love
buddy.
you.